Why did we choose to move to beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico?
Today, we're going to give you our top 5 reasons we chose Puerto Vallarta over anywhere else in Mexico.
And on top of that, we're going to give you our one thing that we don't really like about living here in Puerto Vallarta. So stick with us, top 5 coming up. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Por favor, chicos.
Dale un like al video y suscríbete al canal.
Eso, vamos. Bienvenidos amigos to another episode of More Live Diaries, and we're very excited to share this list with you guys as it was a very big move for us coming from Toronto, Canada, all the way to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Starting with number 5.
Okay, so our number 5 reason for choosing Puerto Vallarta and for choosing Mexico over every other place is accessibility. So the number one thing with accessibility for us was that we could drive here. We wanted to drive here because we were coming for a long time. We wanted to bring a lot of stuff with us and our kids. And so we made it a road trip.
Yeah, packing toys, packing the kids, packing the car full of the stuff that we were potentially going to have, for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It was very important for us. So Mexico was that perfect distance for us to, not be on the road for months trying to get to our destination. And the drive here was amazing and it was very beautiful. So accessibility by car was a big one, but also accessibility by plane for family or friends that wanted to visit us. As we have 2 kids, their grandparents would want to visit them and have family come over. So, the 5-hour flight from Toronto was just that perfect amount of distance where it wasn't too much. It wasn't too big of a trip. Wasn't too expensive either.
Yeah, so Puerto Vallarta has an international airport here, and it's about 10-15 minute drive from where we live. So very easy to kind of go there, pick somebody up and bring them back, and easy for them to take that, like you said, 5-hour flight.
Also, accessibility within different countries and different states within Mexico was very important. We do plan on traveling. We'd like to go back to the States and do some southern states, and we'd like to also make our way down south. So Mexico was kind of like that middle point, attaching everything that we'd want to potentially visit in the near future. Number 4.
4th point is the visa. So we wanted to obviously be here for a long time. We wanted to make sure that we were doing that legally and that everything was set up straight. Mm-hmm. Mexico has a very generous visa and a visa that we were able to qualify for. And
a very generous visa also includes travelers. So if you do come as a traveler, you get a 6-month visa, or if you do qualify for
temporary residency,
you get a 4-year visa. So that was very interesting for us because, again, coming with kids, we wanted security and we wanted to, make sure that we'd be able to settle down here comfortably, knowing that we'd be here for at least the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. Even people who do choose to use the traveler's visa, renewing it is not that difficult. So that's not specific to Puerto Vallarta. That's really specific to all of Mexico, which is amazing. If you do want to come to Mexico, you do get the opportunity to get a longer term visa.
And if you want more information on the visa and the visa process, we'll leave some links for you in the show description.
Number 3
is infrastructure. We wanted to come to a place that would be an easy transition for us when we decided to move, and because we have experience moving, we knew we wanted a place that was going to make it an easier transition for us, and that was going to have some of the creature comforts that we're used to, and also certain things that would make a big move easier in terms of paperwork and that kind of official stuff. Vallarta has an airport, as we mentioned, the consulate's here. It's somewhat of a big city. We are coming from Toronto. It's a little bit big, but not crazy big. Lots of big malls, a Costco, a lot of stuff that just makes it easier to settle in. They're not necessarily things that we think are important forever. Mm-hmm. But when you're coming here, especially with small children and you don't know where to go, all that stuff is available and kind of close by.
Especially if we needed to buy furniture, needed to buy certain things to, make the move here. here and settle down, that was very important for us to have, the necessary stores around that we needed. Also, a hospital. So there's a very good, privatized healthcare system here. And again, moving here with kids, the healthcare system was very important. And we've heard nothing but good things. Thankfully, we haven't had
the need for any of
it, but
there's lots of choices. Yeah, we've heard really good things. It's affordable, and that also goes for school choice. There's lots of different school choices here, as we are temporary residents, not permanent or citizens. We don't really go to public schools, so we have to go to these private, or in our case, a Montessori, and there's lots of different options for the kids there.
There's never a dull moment. Like, we're always doing something. Malls with play places and restaurants with play places. We've definitely taken advantage of that, as they are scarce back home in Toronto.
Yes, and I think for us, that stuff is really important right now because of the small children. And also, we didn't want to have to be making long trips to go to a store to get something if we ended up in a really small town, at least at the beginning.
But that being said, we support local. Supporting local is very important to us. We use the big stores for things that we can't buy from a local person.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Hey, if someone around the corner gets maple syrup shipments, let us know, because we'll definitely support them. Number 2 is the landscape and the climate. I don't think we have to touch too much on this, but as soon as we started looking at potential cities we wanted to move to, and we saw the beautiful landscape of Puerto Vallarta, we were sold on it. And still being here to this day, whenever we walk outside and we just look around 360, there's more than enough to look at. So we have the ocean, the beautiful beaches. You look up, you have the beautiful mountains, nicely colored houses throughout the mountains, and the beautiful weather. To give people perspective, we've been here for 4 months now, and it's been 30 and sunny every single day.
Mm-hmm. And I know people are probably like rolling their eyes and thinking, oh, it's Mexico. Of course it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot everywhere. Well, you are wrong. There are places that actually snow in Mexico. So do your research if you're going to move here. And also, yeah, lots of places inland in the wintertime can get pretty chilly, like 8 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. But, it's weather for sure. And we're loving it. We're tan. We're loving it.
And not to mention the beautiful beaches that are surrounding Puerto Vallarta. So every beach has a distinct feature and look to it. None of them are the same, even beaches that are right next to each other. We're kind of beach bums, so that was very important for us to be able to hop around different beaches and kind of live a new experience everywhere we're going. Yeah. And it is very different. They are very distinct from each other, and we've been loving exploring so far.
So there's a beach for the partier. There's a beach just to sit around and relax. There's beaches that are almost like you feel like you're on a private beach because there's just you and maybe one or two other people there, with little inlets and coves for the kids to play, surfing beaches with the right kind of waves and very gentle ones. So okay, so our number one reason for choosing Puerto Vallarta, but also just Mexico in general, is the food, the language, and the culture. So for food, I think that should come as no surprise if you've watched any of our other stuff. We love the food here.
Yeah.
I could also talk about that for like 30 minutes, but I don't think I need to. It's just so good.
There's a reason why in every single one of our videos, including this one, we'll have something around food, either a food restaurant feature or at least some B-roll, as you'll see right now, of delicious food that we're trying. So food was very important to us. We've moved in another country before where the food wasn't up to our expectations, I'd say, or our taste.
It wasn't inspiring.
It wasn't inspiring.
It was good, but it wasn't like I could eat this for the rest of my life.
Exactly. But honestly, we've had tacos almost on a daily basis since we've been here, amongst other types of food, and we're not sick of them yet. So it's safe to assume we'll never get sick of them because there's so many different types of food, flavors,
and it's all fresh.
It's all fresh. We just love the fact that you feel like you're eating in an abuela's kitchen whenever you go to a local eats type of place. And for those that do like to venture out of Mexican food, there's definitely different types of restaurants for anyone and everyone.
Vallarta specifically, I can't speak for everywhere, but Vallarta has Italian, there is a Peruvian, Thai, Canadian,
American
Irish.
style.
I think there's an Indian place somewhere around here. So there are international foods. They put their own flair, like every country does on it. But you can get international foods. And if we like our local eats, we like our abuela's kitchen. But if you want to do fine dining, they definitely have a lot of those options in Vallarta as well. There is a Michelin star restaurant out here somewhere. And there's just a bunch of very Instagrammable, beautiful places that have Instagrammable, beautiful plates.
Yeah.
So there is something for everyone there. But yeah, we like our local eats.
I don't think we've ever seen or lived somewhere where there is this many options in food. Just stepping outside of our place, within a few steps, there's probably 5 or 6 things that we could just grab and go or sit down at. So there's definitely more than enough food and restaurant and options for everyone. The second thing Kathleen mentioned would be language. We were set on moving somewhere where they spoke Spanish. So it was very important for us. We speak a little bit of Spanish, so we wanted to improve that and perfect that eventually. But we weren't going to move somewhere that wasn't Spanish speaking. We do have more of a familiarity with the language, and it's definitely something that attracted us to Mexico.
The third one was culture. And the third part of our number one reason is culture. And I think we just liked what we saw and what we had an idea of the culture coming in, and we liked it. It was something we thought was kind of easy for us to go into, not super shocking. It's, very family-based.
Yeah, I was going to say family-based, family-oriented, and we weren't wrong. That was a perfect mesh for us.
Yeah, I think if anything, we underestimated how family-oriented it was when we got here. We were kind of surprised. So yeah, definitely.
Just a very rich culture as well. They do, have specific holidays, and they go all out for their holidays, which we're not used to in Canada. Here, it's like a big festivity, a lot going on. We love taking that in. We love walking around when there is a holiday and taking part in it and learning. It's a very important and exciting experience for us.
And one other thing I'll say about the culture is that despite the proximity to the US and despite all there's obviously a lot of people coming in from the US or people who were Mexican and left and came back. That influence is here, but it's not overwhelming. I think that they've really managed to keep their cultural traditions alive here, the music, the food, the traditions. It is very much still alive and present here, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Our bonus reason for moving here that surprised both of us is the expat community.
So kind of like with the accessibility reason and infrastructure, we wanted the transition to be, smooth for us, but especially our children. We wanted to come here because there was some expat community here. There were, including families. So there was schools, there was different options, there were different groups that would meet up with kids. And I thought that would make it a little bit of an easier transition for the kids specifically. So that is one of our reasons. And I think day 3 we were here, we'd already met someone on Facebook, another family, and we ended up going to, they were having a meetup with all these different families. So it gave us an in to the community, and that can be very helpful because they've all gone through it already, right? They've gone through this move. They were able to be like, okay, you need to look over here for schools or do this and make sure you do this. They can give us that advice and that support.
Yeah, and that was the surprising part, was how quickly we found the expat community and we were welcomed in, and we have very good friends now from that community. So you do expect when you're going to move somewhere that you're going to be lonely or feel lonely for a little while. We didn't get that at all here. There's an expat community for everything and everyone. So whatever you're into, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find your people. Not to ally either the local community. The local community has been more than welcoming for us. We know all of our neighbors here, and right away, you know, we were able to make friends with them. And we're really looking forward to also continuing to make friends with new local families that do have kids.
And get into the community a bit more. But the expat community is also important. I don't think, you know, even us, we do want to make friends with the locals, but we shouldn't overlook the expats because especially when you're new, that is your support system, and they can give you insight that maybe the locals can't because they haven't made that move, and they might not know where you need to go and do certain things. And people that understand like this bit of struggle that you go through to come to a new country it's helpful.
Now for the one thing that we do not like about living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Oddly related to one of the things that we like most.
The sheer amount of tourism that there is here. We've been here where there wasn't as many tourists, and right now we're in the peak of high season. So we've seen a fluctuation in prices going up. I'm not sure if that's related to inflation or not, but the prices definitely have gone up in the few months that we've been here. It's just a lot busier everywhere you go. It's to no surprise because we knew that Puerto Vallarta was a very tourist destination for a lot of different countries, but it is sometimes overwhelming when it is a very busy weekend or a very busy week, and we tend to, you know, try to dodge the heavy tourism that there is around.
Or the bigger crowds. And to be clear, like the tourism is international, but also within Mexico. So because this is a beach town, and as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot, like when you go inland, it gets cool this time of year. There is a lot of tourism coming in from like Guadalajara and the other inland cities and towns, as well as Canada, US, wherever. Yeah. So it's just, it's a lot more crowded, and the prices go up.
But that being said, there is a lot of tourism, but we don't find it overly touristic.
That's a really important thing to note because, again, going back to what we talked about, like the culture here is so rich and so strong, and that helps them with the tourism because it's not, you still go out and you still hear Mexican music, not just Latin music, not just reggaeton, but Mexican music, Mexican food, Mexican tradition.
And there's a lot of pockets within the city that is still very local and rich in cultures, but there's still hotels around, there's still tourists around. So if you are traveling here and you are a tourist, you do still feel comfortable, walking around and traveling within the city.
I guess that's another thing we forgot to list. Bonus, it's safe here. Puerto Vallarta is a very safe city. The surrounding cities and areas in Nayarit as well are known to be very safe. I know a lot of times we get messages like, aren't you scared? Something happened in some part of Mexico, but that stuff does not affect us here. You can walk around and feel comfortable and not on guard all the time.
And that's our top 5 list, guys. Please don't forget to comment down below if you've lived in Puerto Vallarta. If you have any comments or questions, definitely comment below. We'd love to get that interaction with you guys and see what you guys think of Puerto Vallarta and Mexico, and if you'd ever consider moving here. So that's our list for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Por favor, suscribirse al canal. And we look forward to doing a lot more of these videos for you guys in the future and giving y'all a lot more taco footage. This is our journey. More Life Diaries. Peace.